Mystics, what is up? Happy holidays to you. Speaking of the holidays, we have gifts we want to give you. And we'll tell you about those in a little bit. And we're having a very interesting conversation. I'm so excited for you to be a part of it. I don't want to spoil it for you right now, but it's cool. It's intense. And we'd love for you to be a part of it. So let's get into it.
The Misfit Mystics podcast is a presentation of Pioneer Dream, celebrating 30 years of moving stories for our corporate, nonprofit, and entertainment partners. We invite you, fellow Misfits, to join the conversation with text, emails, or just the messages in the comment section below. As always, you can share this podcast with anyone you think would get it by sending the link below. Thanks for listening.
We're going to talk about some fun stuff today, some deep theological stuff. I'm really excited about it. It's a interesting conversation. Okay. I was going to say fun. It is fun, but it's going to be an interesting conversation. But before we get into all that,
yes, sir.
I need to remind everyone that as much as you love listening to us, you might love seeing us even more, which you can do on December 12th at the last Dreamers Lab event of the year.
Yeah.
And where is that Dreamers Lab event?
We are hosting our Christmas party up here at the Pioneer Dream Loft.
Yeah.
Should be fun. There will be festive treats and drinks. There will even be a little bit of shopping available for those people who are looking for interesting gift items. So that's kind of fun during the Christmas season. And it's rumored that you're making me sing a few Christmas carols with everyone.
Yes, I am. So there'll be live music. There'll be lots of fun friends, people that you know. There'll be lots of festivities and frolicking, some gaiety, all those kinds of things.
My favorites.
And there'll be some festive treats and all that stuff. So, and it's 5 to 7, so you can hit our thing on your way to something else.
Your office Christmas party or something less fun. Come by ours first, right?
And also, as you all know, we have more than one podcast. And on the last Dreamers Live podcast, which we did last week, we interviewed your dad and Evangeline, who were both present that day.
That was really sweet.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It happened to be my dad's birthday.
And his favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. So we talked about the gratitude habit.
Yeah.
The habit of gratitude. And it was a really fun and interesting conversation. And I guarantee if you listen to it, you will feel better about things.
It was fun and lively and had some good tips for trying to reframe things in a grateful way.
Yes. Speaking of great tips, did you know that many people like to do their giving at the end of the year for tax credit?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And it just so happens
that it's the end of the year.
that it's the end of the year, and we are a 501c3. So all the stuff we do for the kids and the children's and the future of America, that is all stuff that you can contribute to and get tax deductible credit for those things.
There you
go to dreamerscoalition.com. There's a button that just says join us. If you go to that, you'll find all the ways that you can participate with what we do. And anyway, we really appreciate it. So many of you have been a part of that and continue to be a part of that and make the stuff that we're doing possible. So thank you for that.
We appreciate it. We're getting ready to do 120 gift packages for kids in need in our community at 2 Title I elementary schools.
Yep.
And so we're in the throes of shopping for all that now and accepting donations. And so that money will go directly to help kids in need and hopefully help them have a better Christmas.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it.
It's a really sweet project we've done probably for the last 4 or 5 years. We really love it. And so many people look forward to being a part of that every year. And they help us with donations, and they help us buy the books and the stuff, and they help us wrap everything. And then we get to deliver it like Santa Claus a week or two before school's out. And it's super, super cool.
It is cool. I'm excited.
And we would like to give you guys a gift.
Would we?
Listener, oh my goodness, would we? This is the year of giving. It's the time of giving.
Time of
year. Time of giving. Time of year. It's the year of time of giving. Anyway,
we don't know.
We'd like to give you something.
Okay.
So if you will do us one small favor, which is to beyond just liking and subscribing, if you'll write a little review about this podcast, what it is you like about this podcast,
about
wherever
the
you
Mystics
listen to it.
podcast, yes.
So some of you listen to this on YouTube, some of you listen to it on Spotify, some of you listen to it on your Apple devices and all that jazz. So wherever you're listening to it or watching it, go on there and leave a review.
Yeah.
Tell them what it is you like about the show and why you like the show or why you listen to it and all that stuff. Maybe even rate it. with a little 4 or 5 star thing.
Sure.
And do all that. And if you do that and message us, we will give you free a
Nice.
copy of my book, which is, you really don't have to read this, which is a collection of funny columns and
Yes.
stories and all that kind
It's
of
a
stuff.
great book. Yeah,
And we will
the fandom.
also give you a download card for any one of Ann Jeanette's albums that you like. And so you can
that's
get the
nice.
Christmas album if you want, which would be a hot topic right now, or the last album, Songs No One's Heard, which is a really great collection of songs. And so
Yes.
anyway, just go on, review the podcast, maybe hit a little star thing that says how much you like it, and then let us know, message us, and we will give you these things and ship it to you.
I love it. Yeah, that's the way to grow people who take part in these conversations and listen. So,
Yeah, right.
And as always, please share with your friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of books, when not so long ago, you and I were in college.
I would say that was so long ago.
It feels like a long
Appreciate
time
the
ago.
not so. Yeah.
It feels like, it feels like that experience, like a lot of experiences, are things like if somehow you woke up tomorrow
Yeah.
and you were just back on campus, you'd be like, okay, I can do this. It's not like it's something that's so far removed from you that like, I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
But now it's still like, yeah, if I found myself on campus tomorrow, I'd be like, nah, okay, let's
You'd
do this.
still remember
Yeah,
where to go.
Yeah, let's do this thing.
for sure.
And we, of course, we were in the same school. You were in broadcasting. I was in advertising, but all of that fell at the time under the School of Journalism, now the College of Journalism.
Yes.
And we got to share some of the same secondary classes and all that stuff as well.
Right.
Which helped us kind of keep our costs down on
It
books
did.
and stuff.
We shared books and
Yeah.
took turns taking notes. And by the way, when I took the notes, they were very thorough. And I'm pretty sure you slept through yours. I remember that.
I just learned how to delegate early.
Yeah, sure.
That was great.
How about you take notes on my day?
And what's funny about it is if you go back and you think about some of the more difficult classes we took, they're not really classes that were, directly related to our major. Like
Yeah.
I took a micro and a macroeconomics class, which was really difficult.
Yes.
Great. I loved it.
You were very good at it.
You took a couple of sociology classes and,
Yeah.
and even a couple of political science classes and stuff that were
One
pretty
of the
intense.
toughest classes I took was called The History of American Capitalism.
Yeah.
And what was interesting about it was I learned the most about the history of our nation.
That was a fantastic
through
class.
how people make
Yeah.
money. It was very interesting. Were you in that class too?
Yeah, I
Oh
was.
my gosh, that was intense.
Thanks for
man.
remembering. I was right next to you, dude.
So sorry. It was a good time. I'm
And
sure
we
we were
were
holding
married.
hands. We were.
Yeah, I had a study of linguistics in the non-Western world class. I don't even know
You
why
still
or
don't know
how.
what-
I don't. Who put that in my brain? And hey, take this
Hey,
course.
you should
That
take
sounds.
linguistics. Well,
oh
I think,
my gosh.
Well, I think God bless, we're looking for easier electives sometimes. So you'd be like, linguistics, that can't be hard. And then it was horrible,
devastating. Yeah.
wasn't it? It was devastating.
We took a couple of biology courses and stuff,
Yeah.
and then you and I, mostly I think because of my interest and stuff, we took a history of cinema class together. Study of, and that was
It was film studies.
film studies, which was more than just an appreciation course. It was kind of historic
it
and
was-
also context, and
Yes.
it was intense.
It was one of the most difficult classes I took as well. That guy, we called him Film Head because he was so intense.
He gave you one of the better speeches of your college career. Do you remember what it was?
Well, actually, if it's the one I'm thinking of, that was in the history of American capitalism.
Well, no, I think that might have been either.
All right, you tell me the speech you're thinking of.
Well, it was either in
Does
this
it pertain
class
to our conversation?
or it was
Okay.
either in a sociology class or this one.
Okay.
So what was the speech?
Well, is it the one about what I believe?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was in the history of American capitalism.
Okay.
I'll never forget it. We're freshmen, we go in. And this gentleman, he's kind of a nice looking, distinguished looking, middle-aged gentleman, probably about our age right now.
Younger than we are now.
I don't say we're not distinguished looking, that's the difference. But I'm thinking, this will kind of be interesting. We'll get this elective out of the way. And he said, I might be conglomerating two
That's all right.
speeches. He basically said, your entire life, everyone has told you that you're very special, that you're gifted, and that you're unique to the world. You're going to go out in and make a big difference.
Yeah.
And he said, you probably won't. And then he said this. He said, also, you have your beliefs, and they fit into this neat little package that your family described for you.
Yes.
And you've wholeheartedly taken that into your soul
Yeah.
and defined yourself by it.
Yeah.
And you hold those things so dear. And I'm thinking, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right, sir. And he says, and I'm here to take what you believe, smash it, and throw it on the ground. And if you pick
Merry
it
Christmas,
back,
everybody.
he said, it was great though. It was like a scene from Dead Poet Society. He said, and if by chance you pick it up the same way again, well, then more power to you.
Yes.
And continued on.
And that was great. And that has, stayed with us. And, at that time.
And he was right.
At the time, I think we felt like that was a threat. I don't think that's,
No, we did.
knowing the individuals now.
Our evangelical selves were like, you can't shake me, sir.
Knowing those individuals now, there are a number of professors that I thought were "quote unquote" liberal or diabolical or whatever,
At the time.
And that's how I viewed it in my young 17, 18, 19-year-old mind. And now, and especially as we got older in school, into our third and fourth year, and you go back and see those people, you'd see them at church, you'd see them everywhere. So it wasn't it was that they wanted everybody to own whatever it is they believed. And if you couldn't own it, you shouldn't have it, and you shouldn't certainly rail against other people about it. And so,
do you remember the class? Were you in this class? This is another speech. I'll give it quickly here. I think this was potentially a sociology class that we might have taken together. He, on the very first day of college, had us map out. He basically said, you think you're going to live forever and that you, nothing can get you, that you are, I can't think of the word right now, nothing will ever get you. You will be around, and that's how it is. He said, so here's what we're going to do today. You're going to die, he said, and I want you we're going to take the average American lifespan. So I think for women at that time it was 77, and for men it was like 74 something. It's gotten a little better since then. And he says, and I want you just to map out the year that you're expected to die. Wow. I was like, that's welcome to college. And I was like, thank you. But for me, I won't forget, because based on that span, the year I'm expected to live to would be 2055. Yeah. And so as that gets closer, that still sticks in my mind.
Nice.
But it was the same principle. Yeah. The idea was, when you're young, you think that nothing will ever get to you, that you're going to live forever, that you're, immortal. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. And you've got all these dreams ahead of you. And then little by little, life crushes your soul.
Yeah, right. Well, it is interesting. I think the longer we have lived in Christianity and as believers and as seekers, or I don't know how you want to describe or title those things.
Whatever it is we were trying to do.
Whatever it is we're doing as free-range Christians.
Yes.
There. I think at that moment there was an awful lot that was threatening for us as believers. And we did very much believe in an us versus them world. We constantly felt like we were on the defensive or under attack from the world around us, from those people who did not have our beliefs, in their best interest or our best interest. Yeah. Which is so funny because, even then, we lived in a country where more than 80% of the population identified as Christian at the time, in a state in which 105% of the population identified as Christian. So the fact that you could be well above a supermajority and always feel like you were under attack is really humorous. Yeah. And it says something about that, and that the culture of perpetuating the fact that we are under attack and got to be on our guard all times, all the stuff.
But did you think like, okay, I'm going to hop in here. I still felt like people were good. I felt like the world, I'm putting in quotes, it was like I always had to protect what I believed and keep it safe, because the world that was out there in general was going to come forward and take you out and take you away from God. So I don't know it was directed so much like these people are bad, because I never felt like that, but it was more like this. I felt like the culture of the church at
the time was very much an us versus them. Yeah. And that's when we started building big buildings with big programs to keep church people in and protected and safe. And we didn't want the youth out there. Right. We wanted them to play basketball and do video games and go to concerts and all that in here.
So we had to have Christian music, Christian video games, Christian books. So because we had to protect our kids and protect ourselves from the world. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it is interesting that was the feeling or the expression, and why we had this kind of separatist movement for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. And, now as we've kind of gotten further and further away from that period, and things are changing, and our country has changed, and the world has really changed a lot in terms of that, those percentages and stuff. Mm-hmm. I've found myself thinking about the things that within my faith and within my personal spiritual life, my personal spiritual faith, what are the things that are integral to that? What are the non-negotiables? What are the things that are like, I don't know. Yeah. And so, like in the time of, I think it might have been in film studies, we were given a book I think it was called Mythology, and I think it was written by George Lucas, the director-writer, or
Right.
interviewed him.
Okay, yeah.
And so that was this ongoing conversation where they said, no, I'm not going to blow your mind here, but there are
yes.
a lot of faith and religions that have a virgin birth.
I remember that.
There are a
And
lot
that
of faith
did
and
blow my
religions that
mind.
had, a sacrificial,
Yeah.
person or place in that, and this, and this. And so you think Christianity is really, truly unique in this, and this.
Yeah,
And
but
yet,
here's-
here, and
Yes.
even before Christianity, these things were held to be true.
And you could hear me in class go,
Yeah. Everyone's breathing got tight. And you're like, what?
well,
Yeah.
it was a rough day when you went from
Oh,
the
my
two classes I
gosh.
mentioned into that one. It was
Yeah.
like, Lord,
Well, it was a
I do
lot.
feel like I'm under attack.
So then it kind of, as we head into Christmas, begs the question.
This is a festive topic,
Oh my
by
gosh!
the way.
Well, it does, but it's as you head into Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
it does beg the question of, okay, let's say that there's more cultural influence in our gospel than maybe we recognize.
Okay.
Let's say, just for the sake of conversation, I'm not saying this, but for the sake of conversation, let's say that maybe it wasn't a quote unquote virgin birth.
Okay.
What does that do to your faith? What does that change for you? So, in other words, I guess what I'm saying is
What are you saying?
we talk a lot about, I think, that our relationship with God is kind of a threefold thing. That there's this thing of scriptures,
Yeah.
which are remarkable because they go back for most of human history as we know it. And so the fact that human beings have been struggling with the same stuff we're going through and they
Sure.
know God this way, and over thousands of years, all these things have remained true.
Yeah.
Especially when we get into Proverbs and these spiritual truths or spiritual teachings, we find, oh my gosh, over all this time, this has all remained true and significant. That's a really valuable part of Scripture. And also
Right.
the fact that you have something that's bigger than the way you feel at any given moment, you can go back to that.
Yeah,
So that's
for
an
sure.
important thing.
Yeah.
The other part of that trifold thing, I think, is community. The fact that we're not made to be lone rangers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're not made to live on our own. We have to be in community because everything seems brilliant when it's in your own mind.
Yeah.
It's only when you get with other people you say,
Yeah.
oh, that doesn't really smack of truth at all. That's
Yeah,
kind of,
that we're designed to
designed-
have faith in community.
Yes. And we're stronger when we're with other people,
Sure.
when we're safe when we're with other people, and all that. And then this third part of it is this experiential part of our relationship. So what we have in Jesus and through Jesus and the doorway that opens up for us to the divine, this person of God, this presence of God. And so all three of those things kind of have to cooperate and work together in some way. And all three of those things shape and move the other parts. I really understand Scripture in so many ways because of my personal relationship with God.
Yeah.
And also, I have a confidence with Scriptures that I don't understand or that don't make sense to me. That doesn't derail me because I have this personal experience with somebody,
Sure.
And you and I have that. So, for example, you and I have a relationship and a friendship and a marriage together. And if I were to say to you, hey, I need you to do something, I can't really fully explain it to you right now, but I just need you
Right.
to trust me. And
Yeah.
would you please do this?
Yeah.
Then you would say, of course, I will do that. And also,
Sure.
if I did something like we're at a dinner party together,
Right.
and I do something that seems a little unusual or whatever,
Yeah.
well, you wouldn't walk away from me in that moment because
I
we
mean, I
have
might. Depends on how weird it was.
because we have 35 years of history together.
Right. I
And
would
because
think
of
there's some reason that
he
he's
did
doing
that.
this.
I
He'll tell me
know him,
later.
right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the way it is with scriptures and stuff for me. There's a lot of stuff I don't understand, and yet based on my personal relationship with God, I can say, oh, well, I trust you that somehow this is going to make sense
Right.
and that this is okay and all that kind
Right.
of stuff. So all that to say that I have this experiential component of my relationship with God. I have this experiential component of spirituality. And over these 35, 40 years or whatever of kind of knowing God, I also have all this history together.
Yeah.
So if there was one thing or two things or a couple of things that suddenly doctrinally changed for me,
Sure.
that would not tip over my boat.
Yeah. You wouldn't say,
That
well,
would
if that's not true, I'm out.
Yeah. So if for some reason we went back to scriptures and we went back to the original writings and we went back to all that stuff and it turned out at some level that, these words could have meant one thing or another and maybe there actually was no virgin birth.
Yeah.
Is that enough to capsize your boat? Is that enough to get you to walk away from.
And so you're really using that as an example. You're not saying that
of course
someone
not. No.
has, postulated, there's a college word.
No.
I mean, probably I'm sure someone has it. It's not a virgin birth. You're using that as an example. If there are tenets of our faith that we have, things that we hang our hat on, and there's so many of those, and you found out later that one or two of them weren't true, do you throw the baby Jesus out with the bathwater?
Exactly.
Or are you
Does
okay?
any of that cancel what you've had for all these years together?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, if you didn't have the experiential, then it might.
Right.
I mean, if all of
That's the danger for me. That's the danger of only having one of those three pegs
if I didn't
to
have
stand
a friendship with God, I mean, you could tell me that there wasn't a virgin birth or, whatever else, or that homosexuality isn't wrong or what all these things that people say, which of course we believe God loves everybody. But my point is, but you couldn't tell me that when I was a seventh grader and very lonely in middle school, and there were mean girls, literally like the movie, after me. And when I went into the bathroom, and Jesus was there with me, and he was my friend. You can't tell me that didn't happen, because it did.
Yeah,
and that's why I go, well, okay, if some of those things evolve or shift, and theologically. What is most important to me out of those three is the experience and friendship that I've had with God.
Absolutely.
And no one can take that from me.
So there have been hard times, for everyone goes through this place. Everyone goes through these hard times, and maybe some people listening now are in this hard time, and I understand it. There have been times where I've thought, this is so difficult. This season, this place in my life is so difficult. I'm not absolutely sure I believe anymore.
That's
I'm not
what happens.
absolutely sure. I think maybe I'm just making all this up.
That's where the rubber hits the road.
This is so
I think
painful
for most people. Yeah.
And when I have had that consideration, when I've had that thought, which I don't punish myself for having that thought.
It's human to have those thoughts,
so
whether we admit them to ourselves or not.
Right. So when I've had that thought, I thought, okay, maybe this isn't real. Maybe I'm just making this up. Maybe this isn't,
Yeah.
I think to myself, oh, okay, well, to get to that place then, I have to turn my back on all these experiences I've had over the last 40 years or 35 years, whatever it's been. I have to turn my back on the changes that have happened in me as a result of this person living in me and moving in me and inspiring me and putting ideas in me and talking to me. I have to turn my back on the moments when I have been in real pain and jeopardy and cried out and said, would you please help me? And help did come. I have to turn my back on what my life has become versus what it was supposed to be. I have enough family around me and enough heritage around me to say, I'm supposed to be living way over there. I'm supposed to be in this, single wide trailer doing this, living this way, and I'm on the verge of probably death by now. And instead, I'm living this ridiculously happy life over here, and I can see the literal rescue that happened for me. So,
and you'd have to turn your back on the fact that, we never wanted to have a child.
Oh my gosh.
And really didn't, and had made all the moves to not do that.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden this idea comes, I can't get away from it. I hear it in music. I know her name. It ends up being a girl, and it's Evangeline, whose name means good news, and that person exists.
Yes.
And it's beautiful. And you'd have to say, well, I guess that was just luck.
Yeah.
No.
My personal life is littered with the divine. On a daily, weekly, annual basis. And it is not hard for me to go back and point to those places.
Yes. And that's what you have to remember.
So I would have to say to myself, okay, so there's no virgin birth? Well, I can't accept that. None of this is real. No. I could. I'm not saying there is. I'm not saying that's not true. I'm just saying there aren't that many tenets or pillars or things that would capsize my boat. There's some things that might be difficult. There might be some things I would struggle with.
Some things that have been difficult.
Yeah. Well, I know we've been very clear about this, even in earlier episodes of the podcast where we talked about our view of people, our view of homosexuals, our view of people outside of America has all evolved drastically in the last 15 years. And that was a result of an invitation. God, I don't know what is right here, and I need you to show me. please, I don't need to be right about one thing or another. I just need you to show me what you want from us in this place and what this means.
And so much, I think.
And as a result of that, every step along that 15 years has led us into this place of loving people even more fully and even more completely, and people of all backgrounds and faiths and beliefs and socioeconomic.
Wow, that got weird.
Yeah, sexual economics.
Sexual economics. Okay, that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do those things.
That. Yeah. No, I know what you're saying, and I think though, what's at least in my own experience, and maybe yours has been the same, it's the personal friendship that I've had with God and the experiential element and the trust that I have there that made me brave enough to look at some of those tenets and reconsider them.
Gave you the grace and the confidence to say, okay, I don't have to be afraid of this. We can look this in the eye and say, what is this?
And I really do think that is a huge, to use a biblical term, stumbling block for a lot of believers is if you're taught that you have to have these 25 tenets and it has to look exactly like that, then what it causes is a culture like what we grew up in, and then the church, a broader range, grew up in, which is, these are the 25 tenets. They have to be exactly like this, and you have to protect them with your heart. And so what ends up happening is the only way to stay safe from everyone else is to withdraw with the people that only prescribe to these 25 tenets.
Yeah, it's
fear-based. It's fear-based.
This sounds like a joke, but you and I were in a bar in Chicago, and it happened to be a Jehovah's Witnesses convention.
Wait, I have to tell this story. Okay, you go ahead, because I got to tell. Okay, go ahead.
So
I remember
this is a bar this is a bar that we really, really loved. It's
Shout out to the Lodge.
It's a neighborhood bar since the new ownership and
less cool. It's less cool than it used to be,
and much more expensive. But it used to be this really fantastic, weird bar for the neighborhood. Like the rest of the neighborhood bars were all trendy and touristy and all that kind of stuff. And this was this weird neighborhood bar that looked like it had been there for 50 plus years.
That's why it was cool.
And across from it was a restaurant called Five Faces, and you could everybody went there and just got the most amazing walk-up food and stuff. And you get tickets
fries and burgers for like $4. It was so great.
So we were in Chicago for a couple of months working on a project, and it's a Sunday night, and we were living in 450 square feet, this little brownstone thing, and so we would get out a lot because you can only be in,
everybody lived out. It's very
you can only be in that space for so long. So we went down to the Lodge, walked down there, and it's surprisingly full for a Sunday night. It's a lot of guys, and and it turns out there is a Jehovah's Witnesses convention in town.
Yes.
And these guys are here having beers and all that kind of stuff. And not doing anything lewd or not going,
no, they were
it's not Girls Gone Wild or anything. It's just funny.
They got done with their meeting and they came over to have a beer. And so we sit down with this one guy. He was so nice. He was probably... Actually, he was exactly our age at the time, like what we are now.
Right.
And is this where you're going with this?
No.
Okay,
so you and I end up at like different ends of the bar, and we're talking to these guys, and they really want to talk about all kinds of
theology,
stuff.
There's
no anger. There's no defensiveness.
No, I said, you're Jehovah's Witness. I said, I didn't think you guys were allowed to drink. I was like,
are you allowed to be in here?
And they're like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, great.
And they're having a great time. And then I just remember this conversation breaking out, of course, about, I don't know why, they got into this theology thing, and they were talking about the Godhead.
Yes.
This 3 in 1, and can Jesus be God? Well, how can he be God if he's his son, and this, that, and the other? And all these different conversations.
Yeah.
And
not your typical bar conversation fare, but we were into it.
No, but it was really, really interesting. And two things come from that. One was now that I am, even further away from that moment than I was then, I think to myself, I'm fine with being wrong about any of those things.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't have to be right about the 3 in 1 or the trilogy or any of those things. Trinity.
/ trilogy.
Wow.
Well, if George Lucas is writing, it's a trilogy.
Wait till you hear the next gospel. And no, the Trinity and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I don't know, that being one way or the other doesn't break it for me. Being post-trib or pre-trib or trib or whatever.
So did you feel that way that night, though? Because we were.
I think that night, I think we had lots of.
We were a little confused.
I think here's what I remember. Here's how I remember this conversation going.
Okay.
Which I thought was interesting.
Because then I'll tell you how I remember it going.
the way I remember this conversation going is this guy said this, and this, and for them in the conversation, because it is a tenet of their faith, it was much more emphatic, and it was a big deal, and it was going to heaven or hell a scenario for them.
Yeah.
If you believe in the Trinity as 3 in 1, then that's a deal breaker for them.
Their theology was super specific.
Yeah.
So they had not 25, but 30 tenets.
To which I had to say to this gentleman at the time, this was 15 years ago, I said, so what you're saying to me is if you have a son and you love this child and you raise this child up and you do all these things and somehow your child has a misunderstanding about some facts or has a misunderstanding about something, you're going to be done with them forever because they don't understand something, because their mind doesn't comprehend something correctly, because they just got some facts wrong, or because in their limited understanding, they got something wrong. You're saying you want to spend eternity away from them for that. And for me, that was like, I don't think, I already know I'm wrong about so many things. I already know if I die right now that I am wrong about theology, I'm wrong about politics, I'm wrong about culture, I'm wrong about all those things. And yet in this moment, I feel God's presence. In this moment, talking with you, God is here. Earlier today, there were things that I did that I knew were divinely inspired, that were good, and I could feel God's presence in doing that. So God is not withholding himself from me now, even though I'm wrong about things.
And they were a little confounded by that. But
so,
it was a friendly conversation. It was really sweet.
Right. But that's not it. But even that's not enough to tip my boat over.
To throw you,
If you want to argue about, tribulations and post-tribulations and pre-tribulations and when Jesus is coming back and the rapture, and pre-rapture, post-rapture, whatever, that's not enough to tip my boat. These three things working together solidify a lot for me.
It's interesting.
And as you say, this experiential, this life history that we have together. Again, it's Jesus, looking at Thomas saying, what do you mean, show me the Father? We've been together nonstop for 3 years.
Don't you know me?
And now you're going to say, don't you know me? Can't you
know
go
me,
back?
Mary? Don't you know me? So okay, quick addendum to the story. Here we are having this deep theological conversation with a group of Jehovah's Witnesses in a bar in Chicago. And so it was a friendly but intense theological discussion, which we were there for. It was all good. It was good. And I have a side conversation with this guy who's about our age at the time. And you and I were trying to decide if we, I'd had this feeling that there was
a longing, really.
A longing, honestly. And I didn't have it a second time for this person that I knew, which is our daughter now. And I could see her like at about this age. And it was confusing because you and I had always been on the same page with most things. But this was tough because we had ordered our life in such a way that our dreams were going to be everything that we did. So it was a tough time for us. And we were trying to decide if that was something that we were going to give a whirl, so to speak. And we had decided it was pretty painful, and we felt divided on the topic. And so we decided while we were in Chicago working on the project, just not to worry about it. We were just going to go about our business. And so I had in my heart tried to give that up, if that makes sense. So side conversation I had with this guy, deep conversation about theology. He said to me, well, do you guys have any kids? And I said, no, we don't. And we've been fine with that. And I kind of explained our situation. But he said, wait a second. He said, are you like trying to consider that right now? And I said, well, it's a tough topic and this and that. And he said, let me tell you something. He says, I don't have any kids. So he was in his 50s then. He said, I wish I could tell you at my age now how much I wished there was someone to pour my life into. That's what he said to me. And he said, if you are considering it at all, he said, you need to do it. And so that stuck in my heart. And then ironically, that's when Evangeline came about, was on that trip. But so God, part of the reason potentially that Evangeline's in our life is this guy having this theological conversation, this lovely Jehovah's Witness guy who we have these theological differences on, encouraged me. And I felt God in that. So in a bar. So solve that.
Yeah, exactly right.
But that's where the experiential is key.
Yes.
Because you feel God's life and love in something, and you trust that. So.
There are a lot of people that want to, argue doctrine and, if you get with people and they'll say, well, it's this or it's that, and you got to believe this and you got to do that, and you got to have the submerged baptism or the sprinkle baptism or the Holy Spirit baptism or the speak in tongues thing, or you got to do this and you got to do that.
Yeah.
And for me, I kind of feel like at this point in life that if it doesn't work for everybody, it doesn't work for anybody.
Yeah.
So if there's something that can't compute for the least of these, if there's someone of minor intelligence that can't understand what you're saying, I don't know that I buy it because it's got to be for everybody if it's for anybody.
Yeah.
And then also I just don't have it to argue doctrinal stuff anymore.
No.
I don't have it to go to the mat with anybody.
Yeah.
And also I guess in some ways when we talk about the non-negotiables, this thing I have with this person, that's the non-negotiable to me. And I also trust him that if there was something so necessary, so absolute, that I had to have it in order to, quote, go to heaven or make it to heaven, then I think he would do everything he could to make sure that I have that insight and understanding now.
Yeah.
Because I pray for those things. We ask for this. We ask for understanding. We ask for wisdom. We seek him, and we have the confidence that if we seek him, we will find him. If we ask, he'll answer, all those kinds of things. So he would have to be fairly mean-spirited to deny something when you're asking for it, when it has to do with being eternally saved or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
well, it reminds me, it's like when you talk about, there's a couple of scriptures that really come to my mind right now. One of them is, it talks about, if a child goes to a father and asks for bread, would he give him a snake?
Yeah.
Like put the old switcheroo, like you're going to do that for your kid.
Yes.
Like, oh, I'm sorry, you're hungry, you want a sandwich? Oh, here's a snake. It's going to bite you in the face. But
Yeah.
I mean, that was the thing. I mean, he's a good God. He's a good father. He wants us to have the answers and to find that. And it's like you say, if it doesn't work for the least of these, it doesn't work. And then I also think, and I hope this is most people's experience, the older I get and the longer I live, the less I know.
Yes.
I mean, you start out young, and there's such a beauty in that, but you think you know everything.
Right.
You think the 25 tenets are the way.
Yes.
And you live your life, and then little by little, ping, ping, those get knocked out. And so to me, that's the beauty of a faith that stays and persists, is that it's those few things that remain. Like, what's left to hang your hat on?
Right.
Love God, love people, do what's right. I mean, it's a simpler way. And ironically, it's living longer and seeing more experiences that get you to that simplified place.
Right. Yeah, to me, I find it to be kind of both sides of the same coin, I guess, in the sense that, okay, so...
It's not a penny, is it? Because those are gone.
No, it's gone now. No, I mean, like, okay, so what happens if the world was not made in a literal 6 days?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a make or break for you? Can you survive if that's not the case? Can you do that stuff?
Do you remember how upset we were about the dinosaurs?
Oh, my gosh.
I think, did we really believe that dinosaurs didn't exist?
Oh, my gosh. Well, it was a threat. I mean, it's hard to have dinosaurs in 6 days or less. So, I mean... that was a.
Some of this may have been symbolic.
If we were so bent on trying to interpret scriptures literally, then there was a lot that when you do that, there's a lot that threatens you.
Yeah.
When you hold to this thing and say, no, it has to be this way in a dogmatic way, well, then there's a lot of threats out there.
Yeah.
So all that to say. Was the world created in 6 days or less? Was the entire world flooded in the time of Noah? Was it just, that area, that land, that whatever? Yeah. Was it really a well that swallowed Jonah or not? All those kinds of things.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's not a make or break for me. But on the flip side of that coin, I can say that I still believe that there's nothing impossible for God. And I hold to that even more now than ever. My hope for the power of God, especially in the world that we live in now, is greater now than it was before. And so can God do any of those things that he wants to do? Absolutely. Is God big enough? Yeah. Is the one that created the ear able to make an ear hear or bring sight or loosen the tongue or heal or do anything? Absolutely. For me, I mean, that's what I believe.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that it's not saying that God can't or didn't. It's just saying the idea of it's not enough to make or break me.
Yeah.
Or to take away what I have had all these years together.
Yeah.
And so I'm not threatened by the idea of reading something that says, you know, there are lots of religions that had a virgin birth and you're not special in that, or people that want to infer that there are some real cultural influences in the way that our gospel is written and this, that, and the other. That can't undo this 40 years of personal relationship and history in that. And I'm okay with considering those things. I'm not threatened by those things. I don't buy into all of them, but I'm not threatened by all of them.
Yeah, it's kind of like sometimes you see people at the gym or just out and about, and they are of all body shapes and sizes. So no criticism on that, but you might see them wearing some really tight tights or maybe a half top. And we will...
Bold choices.
Yeah. We will jokingly say to each other, well, I admire their confidence. I mean, what would it be like? You know, at what point do you feel so confident that your theology or your particular 25 tenets are the ones, and you just know that, and everybody else is wrong? I mean, hey, I admire your confidence. But if you're around other people that are living this tough life, and like we say, it's hard to be human, and you allow yourself to be around different types of people and listen and watch, it will shake your tenets, for sure. It will shake the pillars of your faith. And so you have to have something stronger than just that. That's not a real faith. I mean, if faith isn't tested, you know,
my guess is the people who, not all, but my guess is the people who are the most dogmatic are the people who are the most scared.
Afraid.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because we need black and white. Black and white is a much easier place to live.
And I admit that.
And you can write people off, and you can be secure, and you can give the easy answer to your kids when they ask questions. You can do all those things.
There was a sweetness and a simplicity to how I grew up as Baptist. This was before my parents started their church. Stop.
Just kidding.
You probably found some of that in the Catholic Church too, because
we had some rules and stuff.
Some certain theology, but because it's sort of like, come to this class, and we're going to show you all of these things, and this is what you say. You know, you learn some basic apologetics, as we would say. This is, you know, and I was big into sharing my faith because I love people, and I did then too, and so you kind of learn how to do that, and it was easier. There was a cute or a safe answer or principle for each thing.
Yeah.
But then something would happen that didn't fit into that.
Yes.
And you would think, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
And that wasn't necessarily allowed. I was fortunate to live in a household where it was allowed to question, you know, and to say, and that's how we've tried to raise our daughter, is she does not have to believe what we believe.
Right.
And
that's not because we don't want her to.
No, we have hopefully modeled that, and you know, of course, we take. You know, she goes to church with us, and we help and try to live a lifestyle that's modeled after Jesus. So hopefully, she's picked that up. But she doesn't have to believe like we believe. Those are her choices, and they have to be.
That's because we need her and want her to own it.
Exactly.
Whatever it is she's going to have.
Hopefully, she won't have to unlearn a lot of what we learned.
Yes.
And so that's her. It's her faith, you know. She had a recent conversation with somebody that was interesting. Some theology, I guess, so to speak, you know, came up, and I was a little shaken by it because, I don't know, when kids are teenagers, there's just a lot to think about.
They're impressionable.
Yeah. And she was fine with that, and it was interesting. She was like, I see, you know, what I feel like I believe in this situation, and I love that friend, and it's okay. And we were like, okay, cool.
It is interesting that over, you know, as we've kind of taken this journey for these couple of decades now, that being more pliable or less assured of certain things and less stringent about doctrinal issues and all that kind of stuff, instead of making me feel less attached or less passionate, or it's been the exact opposite. Yeah. You know, so I feel more connected to the person of Jesus now. I feel more connected to his heart. I feel more connected that I want to know. And I guess in a lot of ways, because this forces me to keep coming back to him and saying, hey, what does this mean? Yeah. Hey, what do you want here? Hey, I just want to know you more. So just show me what that looks like. And I don't need you to fall into this doctrinal track for me to figure that out.
Yeah.
I'm okay with whatever it is that's you. I just want you.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I know him better now than I ever have before, that I love him more now than I ever have before. And as a result, I love others more than I ever have before. And I am doing more good now than I ever have before. And all those things seem to align with the person of Jesus.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that the further I get away from, those kind of issues, the doctrinal issues, then the greater freedom I have. And I think that if that was really the heart of God, these doctrinal issues and all that kind of stuff, Jesus would have spent a whole lot more time doing Bible classes and teaching people.
Instead of healing people.
Instead of healing people and loving people and teaching us how to get along together.
And making wine at parties and
so
dividing the loaves and fishes.
If we're going to, my favorite passage is that that I remain in you and you remain in me.
Yeah.
And if I remain in you, I will bear fruit. And the way I remain in you is by obeying you, is by living in you, doing the teachings of Jesus.
Yeah.
So that's such a safe and wonderful place to live. And then I think in that, as Jesus says, if we love God with all that we are and we love others in the same way as ourselves, then we fulfill the entire book, the Bible, all the scriptures. So that's a safe place to me. Arguing over the other stuff, whether the other stuff happens, doesn't happen, isn't what we think it is or whatever, I think we'll be very surprised when we get on the other side of a bunch of stuff.
There's a scripture that comes to mind that actually has helped me a lot in the last few years as our faith. And it's also been very interesting because I would say that our evolution theologically, there have been things that I have felt like were shifting in me that I was afraid to tell you.
Yeah.
And same for you. It's not like, we didn't say, let's look at this together.
Well, it's when you want to start marrying other people that I thought that's a little awkward.
That just seems like a little variety wouldn't hurt. But, no. But my point is a lot of times we would come to these conclusions separately and then we would end up having I was like, oh my gosh, I've been thinking that too.
Right.
So it wasn't like, anyway, I said all that to say that the scripture that talks about working out your own salvation, I find that very interesting. To me, that is permission to look at these things between God and me and saying, what does this look like for me?
Yeah.
What do you want for me here? And that's part of the coolness of the friendship, I guess, is just like with you, if you would never let me have any other viewpoints or consider different things, it wouldn't be very fun to talk to you.
Right.
And so, that's it, to work out your own salvation. I mean...
Well, you say that, and talk about the grace of knowing him and the experience of knowing him, and it is that confidence we have in being with someone who knows us and someone that we know in return, and because we have a relationship with him, we are not afraid to ask a question. We're not afraid to look at something. But that's also the same confidence, the same grace, the same intimacy that allows me to look at my own self unflinchingly. There's a lot of me that I don't love. There's a lot of things that I wish were different. There's a lot of things I could be embarrassed of. Like we talk about the thoughts that end up in the attic of our brain. And so, but being with him, I don't have to act like that stuff's not there. I can say, oh, yeah, I see that too. And because I see it, now I have the opportunity to be changed. Now I have the opportunity to grow. Now I have the opportunity to confess and believe and accept that really is there. I'm not going to live in denial of it. I'm not going to blame somebody else. I'm looking at this and saying, nope, that's me. I did that. I think that. I feel that. And would you please help me?
Yeah.
But it's the personal relationship with him that gives us the confidence of saying, oh, well, I don't have to be afraid to admit this in front of you because you love me with this amazing kindness and love. And I know you're not going to leave me when I say this out loud, when I say that I agree with what you're already showing and saying and seeing.
Yeah.
So this intimacy is such a critical thing. It's where the ET light lives that we talk about, where we can see what has shine and what doesn't have shine and what has truth and what doesn't have truth. And we get a sense of those things. And there's something in us that says this is right and this feels off and all those kinds of things.
I could confidently, and I've actually wished this, I wish I remember that professor's name.
Oh, yeah.
Because I could go back to him and say, thank you.
Yeah.
Because that started a journey
right.
in me. And what's interesting is some of those pieces were crushed.
Yeah.
And I picked them back up and didn't put them back exactly the same way.
Right.
But I can confidently say to you that I still have faith.
Yeah.
It just looks different than it was when I began, and it's fuller and it's more beautiful.
Well, you own more of it now than you did then.
Yeah.
And you are, oddly enough, more secure now than you were then.
Yeah, and that's probably his whole point.
Yeah, right.
So anyway.
Well, very strange conversation to have.
Merry Christmas.
Around Merry Christmas and the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
I like how you attacked the virgin birth right off. I was like, hey, hope you guys are having a great holiday season. There's probably no virgin birth. I was like, wait, what?
Well, there absolutely weren't donkeys there, okay? No, I am, and again, I just
that
want to be.
That was just an example, kids.
I want to be crystal clear. That came from reading something and somebody else had said that, and I was going back to that conversation. I'm not insinuating that at all, because I think the one who has animated with us with his breath of life is completely capable of doing anything he wants to do.
And I do like that phrase I came up with. I'd like to go ahead and coin this: don't throw the baby Jesus out with the bathwater. But the point is, you don't have to throw Jesus out just because your 25 tenants have shifted.
I think the point is that we draw closer to the person of Jesus, and we can have the confidence that if we ask for more of him, we'll get that. If we seek more of him, we will find him. And we absolutely need all three of these things. We need scriptures, we need community, we need a personal experience and a personal relationship. And all three of those things really work together. And if you just focus on one of those, you can find yourself in a weird spot, you know.
I was going to say, because I feel like we're heading to the barn. That's what
we are.
That's what a preacher would say. Yep. I was just thinking, I know some of the people that listen to this podcast, and some of them are seekers.
Tim, John, Cheryl.
Stop listening. And they're not necessarily believers, but if you hear these conversations and you're moved, all it takes to know and seek God is to say it to him.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you will start, if you say, God, I want to know who you are, or God, I'm open to some of my tenets potentially being different than they were when I was 18, tenets of my faith. God, I'm open to what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you say those things out loud, you'll start to see it differently.
Yes.
I mean, if you can say, God, I know you love me enough that I don't have to be afraid that if everything, all these particulars are different, it's okay. My heart and mind are open, and it'll start happening.
Yeah. Or God, if you're there, show me.
Show me.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty much what happened to me, at 17 years old.
That's
if you're
right.
here,
that's
just
what you
show
said.
me.
You went to the bathroom, and by the way, that's my book I want to write, Jesus in the Bathroom. Yeah. Anyway, I'll get on it.
Hey, speaking of Jesus in the bathroom, you can find Jesus in our bathroom on December 12th when you come to the Pioneer Dream Lair for the last Dreamers Live event of the year. We really would love to see you and come and have this conversation with us. We're going to have a lot of fun that night. And then also, don't forget, before you hang up, review the podcast and give it a star rating and all that kind of stuff. And if you send that to us, we will send you the CD of your choice or the downloaded card of your choice anyway. And then also a free copy of the book. And it's something you can, if you don't want it, you can give it away as a Christmas gift. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, you spent so much money. Thank you. I'm like, yeah, there you go.
It's a very good book. It'll make you laugh. It'll warm your heart for the holidays. Love
all right, friends, until the next time, I hope you don't give up on us. I hope this wasn't enough to capsize your Mystics boat. But,
yes, I hope there is another time. We would love for you to join us next time.
But we love having these conversations, and we love you guys. And so we will see you on the next time.
All right.
Peace out.
See you soon.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, share it with a friend. And check out Pioneer Dream's other podcast, Dreamers Live, a conversation about living intentionally. And Got a Minute, a podcast that pairs short humor columns with original music. This podcast is a presentation of Pioneer Dream, celebrating 30 years of moving stories for our corporate, nonprofit, and entertainment partners. Thanks for listening.